Hello, hello, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, it's a show. Hey everybody, I'm gonna make a video just for the hell of it, and I'm just gonna do it because I've got to start making bad content. The idea is if I create 100 bad videos, then the 101st video will be good. See? So I'm here to make 100 bad videos, starting with the first one. Anyways, I thought I would show you how I frap with paracord so that I can carry cord with me wherever I go. And if you don't know what paracord is, then you're in a coma. So basically it's a strand with 7 strands inside, and usually rated to a tensile strength. I'm not going to pretend I know what that word is, of 550 pounds, so it's known as 550 cord in some cases. But there's a lot of stuff that's coming out of China now that isn't so nice, or probably isn't as safe, or maybe it is, I don't know. And there's also a survival version that comes with one of the interior cords is a fishing line, and I think there's a fire starting cord and maybe something else, and then the other 4 are standard white nylon thread. Anyways, I do this a little different than other people, so I'm just going to make a video and show you how I do it. This will probably be one of many, because I'll end up doing this many times on many projects. The first thing I do is I grab my paracord. First of all, for that kind of a length, I'm probably going to want to start with maybe anywhere between 12 to 14 feet, give or take, right? You can always cut more off, but it's pretty frustrating to frap it and then find out that you didn't have enough. So I'll take my cord, I'll kind of spool it up a bit, and I'll drop it into some hot water. This water was set to boiling, but it's been cooling a little bit. And the idea being is that the water stretches out the material a little bit, and it the heat will sort of expand the material. And when you frap it as tightly as you possibly can. But as it dries, it'll start to tighten back up again, and it'll give you an extra degree of tightness. Now, in a survival situation, of course, that would be incredibly frustrating, because the last thing that you want to do is be fumbling around trying to pull off your cord when you're trying to conserve energy. But truth be told, this is a hollow axe, and there's going to be an X-Acto knife and other things going on the inside of it. So essentially, I would pull the pin on the bottom here that goes through here, and I'm going to pull out my X-Acto, and I would just cut just cut the end off, and then I would have all of that 14 feet back. I would still have it, that first piece I cut off would still be about 6 inches long. I would be able to still use it somewhere, but that's how it would work. Anyways, I'm just going to proceed and show you how I do this, and then if you like how I do it, go ahead and do it that way. If you don't like how I do it, that's cool. Yeah, do it your own way, all good. You know what I mean? There's not really a wrong way. I just like my way, and I'll tell you why I like my way, and then if you don't agree, that's all good. So I start by using tape just to hold everything kind of in place, and I like this tape because it's really sticky. I don't know, it's like paper tape. I don't know, like it's good for ranges when you're doing shooting ranges and things like that, and it's really sticky. It's not the best tape in the world, but it definitely is good for these needs. So I won't wet the first part just because I'm going to be taping this first part. So what I'll do is create a bind, a long bind, so I've got a lot to play with. See? Right? And what I'll do is I'll take some of this tape here. Let's get it nice and tight, right? See? Side by side. I'm going to stick this nice and high up on here, onto the interior of the blade here, on the underside, sorry. See, like so. Alright. I'm going to continue down. Apologies. Nice and tight. Forgive my awkwardness, it's not as easy as it looks sometimes. Just try and get it down here. The reason I'm choosing to put it along the front area here, and not on the side, which most people would opt to do, is they do it that way because it's the easiest way to do it. It's the most surface. But this way here, anytime that this blade is going to make contact with anything that's hard, if you hit a rock or if you hit a really hard piece of wood, these have been known to break. They're really strong, but it would be bad to break it. I mean, the blade is not designed to do serious lumber work. It's just for making fires. So you shouldn't be hitting anything too hard. But the point is if you put that extra protection down the front here, anything that you do hit that's hard, it's going to help absorb that and just maintain the life of the handle just a little bit longer. So I think personally it's a very good idea to go down the front, and it's also, you know what, it's a little bit aesthetically pleasing, you know, and you got balance between the left and the right, which is important to me. It's not really important to a lot of people, but I don't know. So I'll just pass this underneath to try and keep these kind of even, you see. We're going to start, actually I'm going to come down a little deeper here. Right, see what we've got? And cross that over and bring this over so that we get our high point in the middle. If I didn't cross that over, the high point would start over here on this side and it would look awkward immediately. So I'm going to start to wrap this now, and this is going to be the slow part, so I'll probably fast forward through this, but I'll show you how I deal with the tape. So I get it nice and tight. I'm already dealing with wet, right? The wet's good because it's going to, see how, I don't know if you can see that shine, that wet is going to tighten this. Now I've reached the midpoint. I'll pull this back, try and square that off a little bit more, and we hop over. Okay, it's never going to be perfect. We push down, do it as tightly as we can, pressing down with our thumbs in two directions, trying to keep everything as even as possible. Once the water dries, it'll be tighter and it won't be moving around the same way. Now I got to kind of loosen up my grip on this a bit just to get the tape out. See what I did? Not immediately happy with it, but again, it doesn't have to be pretty. It just helps, right? I think I can live with that. And you can just see the water squeegeeing out of it, which is a really good sign that this is going to end up being nice and tight when that all dries. Now you can use cold water if you want, but the nice thing about the hot water is that it will evaporate a little bit quicker. At least that's the theory. This water is already cold, so I don't think it's going to evaporate any quicker. But and you'll see, we just continue this way. If you do this enough times, your hands will actually get tired. You're using a lot of muscles in your hands that we're not used to in the modern age, you know. Anyways, you know how to deal with the tape. You saw it earlier. Just enough to bite over it, and just loose enough to get it out of the way. We retighten and continue our process. So now we're getting up to the neck, and you can see that the neck flares out. Now when I pull this down, it's going to tighten that front bit, right? So I want to do this absolutely as tight as possible from this point forward, because I want it to maintain as even as possible on the front and the back of the handle. I'm just going to go up actually pretty high, because I know that I'm going to be able to massage it down, and it's going to pull down once I send my loop down. And that's just how it goes. Alright. A pretty much perfect length piece of rope for what I'm doing. Good guess, Ryan. Alright, get that in there nice and tight. Pull down on the front and the back, especially the back, because that front's about to hinge down. Alright, remember this? We pull. It's a little difficult because it's wet. Like my hands are wet more like. There we go. See what's happening? See it pulling down the neck. I've got it underneath, that's good. Actually, I probably didn't want to go that deep. Let's see what I can work out here. I think it's gonna have to do. That fixed it up a bit. Okay. Should try okay. I think I'm happy with it. Good enough, right? You can't be too hard on yourself. You just got to get things done sometimes. When you reach for perfection, sometimes you don't get anything done. Take it from me. I have unfinished projects all over the place. Anyways, this is the leather sheath that I purchased for it. It's not standard with this original, but it is actually from Fiskars. It was just sold with a different hatchet. But yeah, I didn't like the plastic one. I ended up just throwing it out. But I'm happy with this purchase. So I'm going to use a wire loop to keep this on my pack. The final portion of this, at least this portion of this build, is just to remove these two tags. And then I have essentially just over 11 feet of cord, times 8, because this has 7 cords on the interior. So that's how that goes. That's how I do it. And that's a done deal. Hoorah.